All right, everybody, thank you for joining us for the next edition of Syncari's Coffee Chats with Customers. I'm joined today by Jenna, one of our customers from Dooley, where she's the head of revenue operations there. And Jenna, if you wouldn't mind just providing a quick intro on Dooley and what you're focused on today, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, sounds good. So Dooley is a Salesforce app where you can ensure your pipeline data is updated with no additional effort. So sellers can update their pipeline within one click, fill out mandatory fields in seconds, and automatically sync meeting notes to their opportunities within Salesforce.
Awesome. And I know that we definitely have some Dooley fans on our sales team here at Syncari. So as you were getting up to speed at Dooley and as you learned about Syncari, right? Like what were some of the business challenges or opportunities that Dooley was facing, and what role did Syncari play in solving those?
Yeah, so Dooley was PLG focused. So you can sign up for free on our website for our product. And what would happen is our sales team wouldn't get notified when those people would sign up for it. We also didn't really have visibility into how many active users we have per account, what their usage was. The only place that we could look up that information was within our tool called Looker. And that was great for trends and all that type of stuff, but our sales team wasn't going into Looker. They live out of Salesforce or they live out of Dooley. So having that information available to them, having those net new product signups assigned to them has really improved their workflow.
Yeah, and I imagine Syncari was not the first platform like this that you have seen before, right? So what was your light bulb moment when you came to understand the power of Syncari relative to getting product data into the hands of the reps when and how they need it?
Yeah, so we previously were using Hightouch, and it was very query-based, SQL-based. There wasn't a lot of visibility into why things weren't working within Hightouch. So we looked into Syncari. It was very drag and drop, easy to use. We had one instance where we wanted to do a data transformation, and instead of going back to our product team or writing a query to transform that data to get it into Salesforce, we were able to just drag and drop different, I guess called nodes maybe, within Syncari, and we're able to do that without any product help.
Awesome. Yeah, we call them functions and actions on our canvas, right? And you're literally just composing workflows visually as opposed to using code. And just curious, right? Like if somebody asked you to write code, what would you do? Do you have any capability there?
I do have some capabilities there, but it's also, how do we scale that? I'm not going to be the one that's doing that. How do we hire somebody to actually maintain that? What if I go on vacation and there needs to be an update? All that stuff, having the right skill set within the revenue ops team, it's hard to come by. It only really lives at Dooley, at least on the product or the data side.
I think that's really wise, right? It's not just about hacking together some code to get the job done, but it's understanding what the maintenance and management of that code looks like.
Exactly,
really,
yeah.
Really wise.
And how we scale going forward.
Yeah. Okay. So when you think about, again, like the key use cases in which you've deployed Syncari, what are some of the common patterns that, again, you're using Syncari for today?
The BigQuery to Salesforce, the product information, is the one that we're using right now. I know that you do have some other integrations that we're going to look at using. For example, we use Pardot, which will want to get that data in there, and then leveraging the Salesforce data more. I just saw that you have some dashboarding components on the homepage, so I want to check out that to see if we can take some of our Salesforce dashboards and put them into there, because it is, as you probably know, hard to report on like different objects within Salesforce unless they're related to each other. So having that option within Syncari would be very valuable to us.
Great. So what I'd like to do next then is, if you don't mind, just pulling up your Syncari instance and giving the audience a bit of just a run through or a walkthrough of the landscape of assets you're connecting to, which you just shared, and then what you're doing relative to those assets with Syncari, and actually showing off some of the pipelines that you have running. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
So just for the audience's context, what we're looking at now is Synapse Studio, and what you see here are the two primary applications that Jenna is sending data into Syncari from and pushing data from Syncari back out into. But yeah, Jenna, if you would mind just kind of highlighting what's here, that'd be great.
Yeah, so yeah, this is just BigQuery and Salesforce, the ones that we're both connecting to, really easy to authenticate within the platform to sync these two. Didn't really require any help from like our IT department or anything like that, which is always nice to do.
Yeah, yeah. Then if you wouldn't mind showing off some workflows, that'd be great.
Yeah. So I'll go into the Sync Studio and we'll start with the account. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. So here's what the logic looks like for our account. So one of the biggest issues we have is that we have Salesforce data already existing. So we already have accounts potentially for these people that are going to sign up for our product within Salesforce. So how do we match anything that comes new coming to from BigQuery into Salesforce? So this is the matching logic that we have here. So first we take a look at the account and see if it has a BigQuery ID. If it does, then we attach that company ID to that account. If not, then we're going to match it based off of company name. So that's kind of the logic that we've built in place. That way, if there's new companies, then they get automatically created in Salesforce. If there's an existing company, then it will automatically match that product data to that existing company in Salesforce.
And do you mind opening up the one of the account filters? Yeah, that one, and showing off some of the matching logic? And
yeah, so we look for the unique identifier within our company. Companies within BigQuery is called usage company ID. So we look to make sure that that equals this company ID, which is the Syncari field. And then we want to exclude some of this BigQuery company IDs. These are things that are Salesforce sandboxes, that type of stuff that could be synced directly to people's Salesforce instances. So we want to remove those from the sync there. And then we just have some inactive people. So this is like our inactive flag within our product that we want to just make sure that we remove those people from the sync as well.
Got it. And if I wouldn't mind backing out to the account view, just for folks who've never seen this before, what you're witnessing, right, is the power of Syncari's unified data model in action, right? So Jenna and the team at Dooley are matching information coming in from the product database about their accounts inside of Syncari, and then pushing that match data back out into Salesforce. And as they add more systems, they can apply this same logic because it's baked into the unified data model, which is really how you get scale and extensibility over time. And actually, what I think would be really interesting to see next is how you've taken this same logic and actually applied it to different entities inside your data model, like the contact entity. So how did that play out for you once you had this logic built?
Yeah, so we have the same logic for the context as well as we do for the account. So instead of building this all out again, drag and drop, what we could do is we could create a fragment. And from that, we just selected everything from here, created the fragment, and then went into the contacts and kind of like, I guess the word would be pasted the fragment within here. And then we just had to go into each of these here and update it so it's looking at the contact object instead of the account object. So super simple to just kind of recopy that logic and put it in here.
Yeah, do you actually mind showing what's inside the contact entity? Looks like it's based on email address, but let's just confirm that.
So similar thing here, we just look at the user ID instead of the company ID, same sort of logic. And then we want to exclude a couple of users here as well. So that's what those IDs are there. And then, yeah, same sort of thing. If we find a contact with the user ID, we're going to update that user or that contact within Salesforce. If no contact is found, we're going to attach it by the email address as well. Because like I said, there's some existing people that we go prospect out to, for example. So there might already be a person with that email address that exists in our database, but they don't have a user ID yet. So we want to make sure that we match to those people and don't create duplicates.
Awesome. And I remember in our prep call, you talked about, the ease by which you were able to map fields from your product database into Syncari and out to Salesforce. How did you do that?
Yeah, I can go into my field mappings. I might go into the account one because there's a little bit more field mappings there. And you can see all the different fields that we map over. So previously we had to do this within queries and like grab all this information using SQL. So we were able to just like map fields, click where we wanted to pull it from, what object we would want to pull it from, or if we were in BigQuery, we'd be able to pull what table we want it to come from. And I'll just show you an example of the account. And this would pull in all of the fields that we have in Salesforce. We'd be able to choose what direction it was and then what the field was within Syncari. And then that was all we had to do.
Awesome. And when you think about how this data was activated, if we go back to the aggregate list of fields for a second, right? Like the impetus was getting product usage data into the hands of your reps, right? Like what were they doing once they had access? Well, first, what type of information was most valuable to them they didn't have before? And then second, what were they doing once they had this newly available information?
Yeah, so for sales, they weren't getting the leads right away. The product signups, the new product signups, they weren't being assigned to them. So right now we're able to assign those leads as they come in to sales. So they can phone them, they can email them, they can reach out to them when they're really hot versus they didn't really have any visibility into it previously. And then our customer success team uses the data for monthly usage and a health score to figure out which accounts are at risk. So they were able to build a view within Dooley to show you all those fields and be able to filter out based off of that. We also were able to do a product usage dashboard within Salesforce of all the product usage metrics that we have, how many new companies are signing up for Dooley, how many new trials we had. All that information was available within Looker, but it wasn't, that's not where salespeople live. So it was available in Looker, but sales isn't going to Looker all the time. Within Salesforce, they're able to say, okay, maybe the monthly active users for this account has dropped, or the health score is not where we want it to be. Then they go into Looker from there and see like what the trends are, because that's better for this type of data. It's like trending and stuff, but in Salesforce, it's not as good for that.
You mentioned earlier that you were trying to stand up some of these processes in Hightouch, right? Mm-hmm. What was the difference between the Hightouch experience and the Syncari experience for you? And what were some of the, like how do you think about the value of that experience?
Yeah, Hightouch was a bit of a pain point for us because we didn't really know what was going on. It was, like I said, like SQL-based. We were getting error messages, but we weren't sure why. Things weren't syncing correctly. We had duplicate issues. So the matching that I went through with you, that didn't really exist within Hightouch. So we're always getting duplicate accounts created, duplicate contacts created. So that's one of the biggest things.
And when it comes to the timeline, I mean, obviously this seems like there's a lot of work involved, but how long did it actually take you to go from kind of where you were to where you are now inside of Syncari?
Yeah, so for context, I think Hightouch, the project was 8 months and still ongoing, still experiencing constant issues. Again, we couldn't figure out what was happening or why we were experiencing the issues. And then we got Syncari up and running in 3 weeks, I think it was. So our team is super happy that this whole long ongoing project that we had on our plates was now finally dealt with. We got the right product. We had the right team with your customer success team that really helped us out getting off the ground and figuring everything out.
Awesome. And if you were to give advice to people who are evaluating Syncari and trying to decide if it's fit for purpose for them, right? What advice would you give them?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like you really need to know what your requirements are and how many resources do you have? Like what resources do you have? Do you have somebody that can learn SQL, that can learn a platform that's complicated and hard to use? Or do you want more of like a drag and drop, easy to use, great support, great customer success? I think that's like the biggest thing for me. Yeah, for our RevOps team, we are a lean team. We don't have the data resources or even the resources at Dooley to help with a type of project like that because they're working on the product side, the people that do have that talent. And on the RevOps side, it would be great to have somebody that can do that and write SQL, but that's not really scalable for us. Maybe that person goes on vacation, maybe they leave, and then now we're stuck with a platform that we don't know what to do with or have the resources or talent to figure out how to execute that.
So no code as a risk mitigation solution.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's smart. Okay, got it. Jenna, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. And to the audience, thanks for joining. And we look forward to seeing you on the next Coffee Customer Chat. Talk soon.
Thank you. Bye.